Classe.
Wow, bene, bene.
Yes. We have Elizabeth McDaniel with us today, and she is the director of our study abroad programs from Texas Tech. And she's going to introduce our other guests as well. Professor Aranha and Professor Chapman asked me to tell the Seville group that you're going to meet briefly afterwards. Is that right?
5 minutes.
About 5 minutes. Other than that, then I'll hand the floor over to Ms. McDaniel and have at it.
Thank you. So I want to introduce the new Assistant Director for Study Abroad at Texas Tech, Mario Ruiz Legido. So if you're going to Seville, he's originally from Sevilla. He just arrived at Texas Tech on January 4th, straight from Spain. So if you have questions about what life is really like in Sevilla, you can answer those. And then also Nikki Nordell is here. She's from the Financial Aid Office, and she'll be talking to you in a little bit about financial aid and study abroad. So what I want to do today is talk a little bit about what you need to do to commit to participating in your study abroad program, how you're going to be billed for your program, how you can apply for scholarships, and then Nikki will talk about financial aid, and then answer whatever other kinds of questions you might have about money, deadlines, all those kinds of things. So let me start out by talking about committing to your program. I have already started, and I think some of you have figured that out, have started an application for you on the Study Abroad website. So to access that application, you're going to go to studyabroad.ttu.edu, and then up in the top right-hand corner, you'll see login for Texas Tech, or I forget exactly what it says, but you'll know if it's you, non-TTU or TTU. So you'll log in with your E-Rater credentials. And when you do that, many of you are going to see, you'll click on the program name. So you'll get to a page that looks like this. And one of these things will say architecture wherever you're going, so architecture Seoul or something like that. And you'll just click on that program name. And when you do that, there may be that little decision letter that says, yes, you've been accepted to this program. Please read that carefully. There's some really important information in there. And then it's going to take you to a series of check boxes. The object of the game is to get all the check boxes checked off. So they need to all be completed by April 30th. So that's the first deadline you need to be aware of, April 30th. Almost everything can be completed online. I would ask you, please, where it says sign these documents electronically. When you click on here, there's going to be a little thing that comes up, and it says, by signing this document, I acknowledge that I understand whatever this was up above here. Please read that before you sign it. And then when you sign, it's going to say, okay, you realize you're really committing to saying that you understand it. And once you sign, it checks it off right there. Okay? So you're going to do whatever it takes to get all of these things checked off. Some of this up at the top, you'll have to provide information. So like we're asking for your emergency contact information. You just fill that information in. I've already kind of filled it in. So you will fill that in and then hit save. Okay? Now, this is really important, and we didn't exactly agree on a date, but I'm thinking February 20th or something. I think March 1st is too late.
Okay.
Okay, by February 20th, you need to click this button that says confirm. That means I am committing to participating in this program. So what does committing mean? For me, it means till death do us part. So if you commit to if you press this button, and when you do that, a little thing is going to pop up that says, you are confirming participation in your study abroad program. For faculty-led and TTU Seville programs, this commits you to paying all program costs. Okay? That's exactly what it means. If you do not commit to this program if you do not know if you have the money to participate. Once you commit to this program and the program goes, you will owe the money even if you withdraw later on. Does anybody have any questions about what that means? So if you commit on February 15th and on March 10th, you find out your cousin's getting married and you really want to go to that, too bad. You can either go to your cousin's wedding and still owe me the money for the program, or you can not go to your cousin's wedding. Okay? So, not until the next best thing comes along am I committing to this program. No, really, I'm planning on going on this program. And the reason that's really important is that we will start spending money on your behalf for the arrangements that have to be made. We're making hotel reservations, we're reserving host families, we're making bus reservations for excursions that you're doing. We're paying another third party to take care of doing some of those things for us for some of your programs. So we as Texas Tech have a financial commitment. So that means when you commit to the program, you have a commitment to us. Okay? So there's no question about that, right? All right. So as soon as, I'm not going to hit OK because I use this as an example all the time, but as soon as you hit OK, then this little confirm box goes away and it changes your status to saying from accepted to committed. All right? Okay, so everybody knows what they need to do to complete their application. Everybody knows what they need to do to commit to the program. Let me talk a little bit about, one other thing two other things I want to point out. One is we will enroll you in health and accident insurance while you are abroad. In Spain, it will be a Spanish health coverage. For everybody else, it will be a company called HTH Worldwide. It costs $1.50 a day. So for your programs that are lasting about 42 days, right, it's going to be $63, more or less, in that ballpark. It's not optional, it's mandatory. So we will do the enrolling for you. I'll let you know when I've enrolled you, and then I will bill that separately, and I'll talk about the billing in a little bit, but I'll bill that separately to your student account. And you'll just pay it like you normally pay stuff on your student account. For those of you going to Sevilla, then you'll be enrolled in Sanitas through the Seville Center. They'll take care of that. It's also mandatory, and it's part of it's already built into your program fee. So there won't be any extra insurance thing on your bill. All right, and then the other thing I want to point out is you have to acknowledge that you understand that pre-departure orientation is mandatory. So mandatory means you have to go. If you don't go to one of these sessions, you do not go abroad. We have a 100% participation rate in pre-departure orientation. So if you haven't looked at this yet, then when you click on here, it gives you the dates for the orientations. So for those of you not going to the Seville Center, you have these 7 days that you can go. For those of you going to the Seville Center, you have these 2 choices. Now, if it were me, and I was not going to the Seville Center, I would try to go on the first day that it's offered. Everybody know where the study abroad office is in the building with we're across the bridge, the building with the big globe out front. Okay, everybody know where that is? Across from the hospital, south of the museum. So it'll be in our building from auditorium of our building from 5 to 7. You only have to pick one of these days. You don't have to go 7 times, just pick one of these days. But if you pick the first day and you show up, and either the room is already full because we expect to have more than 1,000 students study abroad this summer, so we're going to be at max capacity probably at every orientation session. So either the room is full, or you wake up that day and you're sick and you really can't go, then you still have all those 6 other opportunities. But if you decide that you're not going to go until the last day, and you wake up sick or you get there and the room is full, then what? Then that means to me you're not going to get to go. Or I'm going to have to make a special exception to you, which makes me really cranky. So please plan on going to these early sessions. And you need to get there, you need to be in your seat at 5, because we do close and lock the doors. If you show up at 10 after 5, you will not get in. It doesn't usually last a full 2 hours, but plan for it to last the full 2 hours from 5 to 7. The purpose of this orientation is not to talk to you specifically about the locations where you're going, because we have programs going from Korea to Spain to France to Belize to China to all kinds of crazy places. But it's to be a general how not to be stupid while you're studying abroad kind of orientation. Health and safety kind of stuff. Banking, electronics, using your cell phone, getting money, that type of thing. So don't come expecting, something specific about my architecture program in Paris, because you're going to get that from Dr. Ellis, not from us. Okay, but it is required. Then for the students going to the Seville Center, you do have 2 options. So it doesn't give you as many choices, but there aren't as many students going to Seville as there are going to all of the other locations. So we will be able to accommodate everybody going to Seville on these 2 days. Anybody have questions about pre-departure orientation and what mandatory means? Okay. Let me show you how to apply for the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship. That application is already open, and it closes on March 4th. So you need to make sure that you get everything in. If you are interested in applying for the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship, that you get everything completed by the close of business on March 4th. Now, the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship is funded by a $4 international education fee that all of you have paid every semester that you've enrolled at Tech. So if you're just finishing your junior year, you've been here, 6 semesters, you paid a whopping $24 into it. So this is your chance to get some money back. About 70% of students who complete the application are awarded something. But the really important thing for you to know about this scholarship is that it is not going to pay for your program. The awards for the summer are based on length of program. Architecture has relatively long programs for the summer programs. But I would say that we're looking at between $500 and $1,000 max as an award. Now, that's not going to pay for your program. But if I go out to my car and I see $500 sitting on the ground outside my car, am I going to bend down and pick it up? You bet I am. So it's not an onerous application, but it does take some thought and some time into completing it. So I'm going to show you what to do to have hopefully a successful application. The applications are reviewed by a committee that's made up of Texas Tech faculty and 10 faculty and 5 students who have studied abroad before and been awarded the scholarship. So they kind of know what to be looking for. So to go to it, if you're at the Study Abroad website and you click on Financial Resources and then Scholarships, Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship, okay, I cannot stress to you strongly enough how important it is that you read this advice for completing the Study Abroad Scholarship application. This is written by the committee members who are going to review your application. I'm going to go through it with you a little bit right now. So there are a couple different parts of the application. One of the most important parts, I would say the most important part really, is the statement of purpose. Why you want to do this program from an academic standpoint. For architecture students, it's a no-brainer. It's one of your studio courses. It's going to help you develop as an architect. So they want to see that kind of thing, not the Eiffel. It's always been a dream of mine to see the Eiffel Tower. They really don't care. From an academic standpoint, affecting you here as a student at Tech and affecting your development as an architect when you graduate and go on and do whatever architects do when they go on. So look at these questions. They guide you through this. Take a look at these are the kinds of things they want you to address in your statement of purpose. So they put those suggestions for a reason. Don't ignore them. Pay attention to grammar, pay attention to spelling. This is a competitive scholarship, so they want you to show some thought into what you're writing, that you have put some thought into what you're writing. Okay, so that's the most important thing. You also have the chance to complete a statement of financial need. It's not required. But the statement of purpose is weighted at 60% of the way they review your application. The statement of financial purpose is 10%. So if you're going to spend more time on one or the other, definitely spend the time on the statement of purpose and not the statement of financial need. An application with a really great statement of purpose And low financial need is going to beat out a statement with really high financial need and a really terrible statement of purpose every time. So think about that when you're doing your application. Okay, you do have to submit an official Texas Tech transcript that shows that you are currently enrolled here at Texas Tech. So not an electronic one, a no kidding hard copy one. And it's going to cost between $5 and $7, I can't remember what it is right now, to get one of those. You can order it from the registrar and pick it up. You can have them send it through campus mail to our office, and the directions are right there about where they go. We do not accept faxed copies. Is there anybody here who's a transfer student and this is their first semester? Okay. So get an official transcript, but do not wait until March 3rd, the day before the deadline, to do this. Because if we have more than 1,000 students studying abroad, about 600 of them are going to apply for the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship. And if 599 of them are in the registrar's office on March 3rd waiting for their transcript, we have actually had it happen where the registrar's office cannot print them fast enough. And they don't get to our office on time, and then your application is not considered. So go now. If you start the application this evening, go now and request your transcript. You can request it on the Grader link and have it sent over to our office. Okay? Then the other really important part that's about 40%, no, not 40, let's see, 20% of your application, I think, are recommendations. So these need to be recommendations from people who can speak to your academic abilities. So while we know that your mom thinks you're really smart, we really don't want her recommendation for you for this scholarship. At least one recommendation needs to be from a Tech faculty member. It's much better if both are. The faculty who are leading your program can write recommendations for you. Or it can be, somebody that teaches you a history class, or it doesn't matter. But you need to request that recommendation from the faculty with plenty, and give them plenty of time to complete it for you. So again, don't wait till March 3rd. I know that Dr. Park would be very upset if he got a recommendation request on March 3rd that was due on March 4th. Faculty are busy. They don't have time to do that. Give them plenty of time. Speak with them in person if you can about the recommendation. Would they be willing to write you a good recommendation? Now, the important thing to communicate to them is that the recommendation request, they're not going to write a letter like they're used to writing for a student who's going to go to grad school or something. This is all done electronically, so I want to show you what it looks like and how you request it. So this is my fake Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship. You can see I'm going to Italy this summer. You request the recommendations here, down here at the bottom. So you have to request it electronically, and please let your faculty member know. It's going to generate an email, so I'm going to request one from Dr. Ellis, and I know he'll give me a good one. So make sure if you put in the faculty member's last name that you select the right person out of the list, out of the drop-down list. And then in here you can say, hey, Dr. Ellis, remember I talked to you about writing this recommendation. I'd really appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. I really enjoy your class, looking forward to Paris. Please remember the deadline is March 4th, because as we know, Dr. Ellis is very forgetful. So we're going to put in there a reminder to the faculty member when the deadline is, because that helps the faculty. Okay? And then when you hit submit, it is sending an email to Dr. Ellis, not from you, from the Study Abroad office. So let your faculty members know that. They should be looking for an email. Once they agree to write one, they should be looking for an email from the Study Abroad office, not from you. And then once I've hit that, then you can see that his name is there. So you have to have 2 recommendations complete. You can have 3. The committee will read and score the 2 best if you have 3. What this tells you is that nobody has yet completed a recommendation for me. So when the email goes to him, it sends him a link. He clicks on it. He fills it out electronically. He hits submit, and it automatically checks off right here. So if a faculty member tells you they submitted it and it's not checked off, they didn't. And I can resend it. That's not a problem. Every once in a while, it just goes into who knows where those crazy emails go. But it goes someplace, and they never get it. So if you have a faculty member saying, I just didn't get it, can you send it to me again? Email me or email Mario, and we can resend it to the professor. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Whenever you order the transcripts, how long do you hold on to those?
How long do we hold on to them?
Yeah, because if we don't have this filled out yet,
yeah, we'll hold on to them until after the deadline.
Okay.
Yes, so we will get transcripts ahead of time, and we know that. But it's better to me if you just at least start the application, even if you don't do anything with it, and then order your transcript, because then at least we have a name and a transcript that we can match. So I would recommend doing that. You don't have to complete the statement of purpose or any of that. You can just get it started, order your transcript, and then we can match it up and check it off. Okay, does anybody have questions about this, about the scholarship? So the scholarship committee will meet around the 20-something of April, and you will know immediately after that if you've been awarded or not. So you will have had to commit long before to your program before you know if you've been awarded one of these scholarships. But like I said, it's not going to pay for your program. It's just the nice to have money extra. Questions about the scholarship at all? What the committee is looking for? Okay, let me talk real briefly about the way you're going to be billed for your program. So by February 20th, we said, right? February 20th, you're going to have committed to your program. As soon as we know that we have enough students committed to the program for every program to make, then I will start billing a deposit. And your deposit will be $1,000. And it will go onto your spring account, and it will say something like, so you know what to expect on your account. It's going to say something like NR DEP, and then like architecture Harris. Okay, so this is going to be $1,000 as a spring charge. So you're going to owe it in spring. Okay.
30 days after it's on your bill before you start getting late fees.
Right. Yes.
I currently have a tuition waiver. Would that cover it if it is applied to the same account that the tuition waiver is?
It's applied to your student account, but I don't believe, do you have all of your tuition and fees are waived?
Yes.
You probably need to talk, I don't.
That would be a question for Student Business Services.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
No answer to that. Okay, so that goes on as a spring charge, $1,000. It's due within 30 days. Okay, so I expect that by the 1st of March, I will bill the deposits, and you will owe it by the end of March to give you a way to plan for those dates. Then, for the remaining program fee, so let's say your program, I'm just making numbers up, so don't believe these numbers. I'm going to make it like a really outrageous number up, so don't think, okay? So let's just say that your program cost him $25,000. I know none of them do, so. Okay, just pretending, don't think. Okay, so this one is going to be $1,000. In the summer, I'm going to bill the remaining program fee. And it's going to look like this on your account. So that's going to be $24,000. It's going to be the program fee minus the deposit that you've already been billed. Okay? This is on spring. This is on summer. Summer 1. Also on this is going to be an education abroad fee that all tech students who study abroad are billed because we are not fully funded by the state. $200. Okay? And then the only other thing that I will put on your account is the insurance, and it says like study abroad insurance. And this should be, except for Seville, which you won't see this one, but this should be for the other students, more or less $65. Okay, it's $1.50 a day times the number of days you do program. Okay, so those are all going to go on summer one, and you owe those just like you owe anything else that goes on your account. You'll notice what's not in there is tuition and fees. That happens when you enroll in the actual courses that you're going to be taking abroad. The other thing that's not in there is airfare. Okay, your program, none of your program fees include airfare. So in addition to this, you're going to need to be planning for airfare and food and those kinds of things. Any questions? Yes.
For the summer payment, does that get put on the account at the same time as the spring payment?
No.
Or is that going to happen like
No.
this semester?
No, yeah, this one I'm going to bill by about March 1st, and this one I will bill, it's usually the end of April that we can put summer one charges on, so around the 25th of April. But it will be summer one, so you know, if you look at the date that they drop you from classes for non-payment, that's when it's due.
Okay.
I think the summer one due date will probably be about May 30th. We disperse financially 10 days before classes start, and if I remember what I looked at the other day, it should be like May 28th that we disperse aid, and the bills usually due a couple days after we disperse financial aid.
Okay, and then, so any questions about anything I've talked about so far? Yes?
On the application that we have to fill out before, there's 3 check boxes at the bottom, like one for scanning passport and stuff like that. Is it automatically checked, like when we go to orientation?
Okay,
and stuff like that?
yes.
So we-
Yeah, let me go back to the other one. So yes, when you attend orientation, you will have to sign in. It needs to be legible so we can read it. And then I will go in and physically check it off for all the students. Okay. So these things that are down here, you can't check off. Our office has to check those off. Is there anybody in here who does not have a passport? Okay, if you don't have a passport, you need to apply for one now. And I'm not kidding when I say now. There was just a big article in the New York Times said there's going to be a huge influx of people applying for passports because, well, for lots of different reasons. But anyway, apply for one now. Because there would be nothing worse than to commit to the program, and this has happened to students, than to commit to a program and not have your passport and not be able to go. And there is nothing I can do about that. If you have not applied for a passport, I had a student, this happened the year before last, a student who committed to the program in February, not an architecture student, but committed to a program in February, did not apply for his passport until May for a program that was leaving at the end of May. And guess what? He didn't get it. And guess what? He owed me $5,000. Not having your passport is not a reason for you to not be able to, for you to get out of paying for your program. So if you don't have a passport, get one now. You need to upload a scan of your passport to your application. Okay? So the scan should look like this. I don't care if you take it with your phone, I just don't want to see your fingers in it, and it needs to be folded, it needs to be flat so that we can see everything about this part of your passport. Okay? So you scan it and you can physically upload it to your application now. You used to have to email it to us, you don't have to do that anymore. You just upload it right to your application. And I go through every day and I see who's uploaded passports and I get it checked off. So allow 24 to 48 hours for it to get checked off and then you're done. But you really, really, really need to apply for one if you don't have one. Is there anybody in here who is not a U.S. citizen? Okay, if you're not a U.S. citizen, you need to make sure that you know what the visa requirements are for citizens of your country going to the country where you're going to study abroad. That's your responsibility. Okay, yes.
On the second one says receive medical clearance to start a new term.
Yes.
What do we have to do on that?
Okay, when you click on these, it tells you, but they've actually changed it this year. We worked with the Wellness Center because they were completely overwhelmed by the 1,000 students who stayed abroad last summer. And so this year, if you are going to any of these countries on Chart A, which you all are, then you will print out these two forms, the health history form and the travel physical form. You will complete what you can complete, and you will take it to the Wellness Center and drop it off. And then the head of the clinic over there will review all of the forms, and then they'll contact you if they need to see you about, I have a heart condition or I have diabetes or whatever, and they want to see you. They'll contact you. Otherwise, they will send me the form and we will check it off. It used to be that you had to actually go and have a physical, and they've stopped that because they don't have the staff to handle our gazillion students who are going abroad.
There's somebody over here.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a deadline by which they should complete all these forms?
April 30th. No, this is April 15th. Yeah, no later than April 15th. You need to get it to the Wellness Center.
If all those boxes are not checked off by a certain date.
Right, if all the boxes are not checked off by April 30th, you're going to be hearing from me, for sure. But by then, you will have come to pre-departure orientation and you'll be all good. And we scheduled pre-departure orientation earlier this year, partly because of architecture students, because we know the end of the semester is really hard on you guys. So I know every semester is hard on you guys, but okay. But that allows you to get that stuff done, out of the way. Just do it. Then you don't have to worry about it, right? You can do all of this tonight. You could go home and get it done tonight or this weekend or whatever. But don't wait until April 29th. Don't wait until April 4th to get 14th to get your stuff into the Wellness Center. Just get it done, and then it's off your plates and you don't have to think about it anymore. Okay, I wanted to briefly mention, are you going to talk about the Gilman? Okay, I wanted to just briefly mention one other scholarship that some of you may be eligible for. If you receive a Pell Grant, there is a national level scholarship called the Gilman Scholarship, whose average award for the summer is $4,000. That's pretty good money. That application is open right now for the summer. You can go to gilman.org to get information about it. And when you if you decide to fill out the application, know that it is an intensive application. So it's definitely not the kind of thing you can do the night before the deadline. You have to write 2 essays, you have to propose a project and all that. We're talking $4,000 here. So it should take a little bit of work. And if you do decide to do the application, if you are eligible, then either Mario or I will certify it as a study abroad advisor, and Nikki will certify it as a financial aid advisor. So we will have to physically go in and say, yes, this person is going on a Texas Tech approved program. Yes, the program costs this much. Yes, this person is a Pell Grant recipient, all those kinds of things. But last summer, I think 2 architecture students were awarded the Gilman. So it's really, if you are eligible for it, it's definitely worth your time to do it. You don't find out until pretty late. I think it's the end of May, something like that. Yeah, middle to end of May. But, that's like icing on the cake if you get that. Okay. Anybody have questions for me before I turn it over to Nikki? Okay, I've put my email address up there and Mario's email address up there. So if you have questions about the kinds of things that I talked about today, please email one or the other of us. If you have questions about your program, like where are we going, where are we staying, what are we doing, that's your professors to talk to. Okay?
I have these flyers that are for that Gilman Scholarship that she was just talking about. So if you are somebody who does receive Pell Grant, if you just want to pick one up on the way out, then you can. It just gives more information about that scholarship she was just talking about. Okay, so we'll kind of go over the flyer that you have that has the seal on it. It's kind of a checklist of some things that you just need to make sure that you have taken care of. I know Elizabeth talked a lot with her scholarships that she told you about, that you're not going to know about the scholarships before you have to click that commit button. So We'll talk some about other ways that you can get financial aid. A good plan may be, if you have to take loans, go ahead and have your loans in place. And then if we find out that you get some of these scholarships, we can always reduce the loan later before it disperses and replace that loan with the scholarship money that you do get. And then you've already know that you have the money in place because you have the loan if that's a way that you have to pay. And then we can reduce it and replace it with free money if we have to, or if we get to later on. Okay, so kind of as we talk, keep that in mind as an option that you do have. Okay, so when you apply for financial aid, it's the same FAFSA that most of you have already filled out this year. It's going to be the FAFSA for 15-16. When you fill out a FAFSA, it's good for the whole year, fall, spring, and summer. Most of you guys have used all of your aid during fall and spring because when you get offered your subsidized and unsubsidized loans, they are split between fall and spring. If you get Pell Grant or other grant funding, split between fall and spring. If you get presidential scholarships or scholarships from your department, they are split between fall and spring. So most of your aid is going to be used after fall and spring, and you're going to be looking at some other outside options to help you cover. The way that you would have something left for summer is if you only had accepted your subsidized loan and you still have your unsubsidized loan that you declined, that unsubsidized money can be reoffered in the summer. If you had your subsidized loan but you changed the acceptance amount and you only accepted maybe $2,000 instead of the full $5,500, then the rest of your loan can be offered in the summer for you to be able to use. If you declined some of that loan money and you still have room in your budget right now in the spring, we can reoffer that money in the spring so that you can have money to help pay for your airfare, to pay for that $1,000 deposit that Elizabeth talked about. And we can reoffer that on an individual basis if that's something that you need. We will start awarding for summer. We're hoping into February, but we can't guarantee that, so it may be somewhere into February to middle of March. You'll be able to see your awards on your Rater link once those are there, okay? So please don't keep calling and saying, when are you going to award, when are you going to award? Okay, so hopefully the end of February, middle of March, and you'll be able to see all of that on your Rater link once we have it up and running, okay? But you don't have to fill out a new FAFSA if you've already filled out the FAFSA for 15-16, because that's the same FAFSA for summer. If you have not yet filled out a FAFSA for 15-16, it is still online, it is still available to you to apply. FAFSA has changed their login. So when you guys filled out your FAFSA last year, most of you probably used your PIN number. They've changed from using the PIN number to a process where you're going to create a username and password, and it'll still link to your PIN number. So when you guys go to fill out your FAFSA for next fall, spring for 16-17, that just sounds so weird. For 16-17, then you'll need to go ahead and create that username and PIN number if you haven't already done that, or username and ID if you haven't already done that. Both you and your parents will have to do the username and password if you're still a dependent student. You can do your FAFSA on FAFSA.ed.gov. Make sure if you haven't filled one out and you're going to, make sure you go to .gov. If you go to FAFSA.com, they'll charge you money to fill out your free application, so make sure you go to .gov. And our school code is on here just as a helpful hint so that you make sure you send it to Texas Tech and not Health Science Center. Okay, so like I said before, you can see all of your financial aid information on your Rater link. So if you're receiving financial aid this year, you already know that we added that new component where you have to answer your enrollment certification for how many hours you were taking in the fall, how many hours you were taking in the spring. It's already asking you how many hours are you going to take summer 1 and summer 2. So your 9 hours for your program are all going to be summer 1. So when you answer your enrollment certification, you need to answer that you're taking 9 hours or 6+ hours. I'm not sure exactly what the maximum answer you can pick there, but You want to say that you're taking your 9 hours in summer 1 because that's where your hours are going to be. If you happen to be taking an extra class online, summer 1 or summer 2, then you can include those. If you're only doing your study abroad, your 9 hours are summer 1 and you're taking 0 hours summer 2 if you're not doing anything online for summer 2. That will get you, that'll get your financial aid page unlocked so that when we do start that awarding process into February, middle of March, we can go ahead and get you awarded anything that you do have left over of your loans. I usually do have a little bit of grant funding that I'm given for study abroad students, and I have to go through manually and look at everybody, all those 1,000 students that she's talking about, to see if you are eligible for any grant funding. So if you are eligible for grant funding, that will be awarded by me manually as we go through the process. So you may not see grant funding awarded right away because that's something that I'll have to go and do. The office does sometimes set aside for summer as well. So if you are eligible and the system picks you up and says, yes, you're grant funding eligible, and they give you grant funding, I will also review the amount that you've been given to see if what you were given is the maximum amount you can have, or if there's anything else that I can give based off of availability and your eligibility. So that's something that I will take care of personally, so you don't have to contact me and say, hey, am I eligible for grant funding? That's something that's already part of the process that'll be taken care of for you. And if you are awarded grant funding or any loans, you'll see that on your rater link on your View and Accept Aid tab. And it'll be split. It'll show summer 1 and summer 2 options for where your aid is placed. Make sure that you have your direct deposit set up with Student Business Services. A lot of you may already have that, but you just want to make sure that that is an account that you have access to while you are abroad, because if you get aid and you have a refund coming, we want to make sure that you have access to it while you're abroad, so that if you have to pay your bill or if you need to use it for food or some kind of emergency abroad, then you have access to that money. And like I said, I believe it's May 28th that we'll be dispersing any aid that you have available for summer, and then the bill should be due on the 30th. So the Student Business Services will start processing refunds as soon as bills are paid. Okay, so like we talked about, you may have used all of your aid during fall and spring. So a way that you're going to pay for your trip would be any scholarships, and we'll talk about some scholarships in a little bit. Maybe some grant funding, which we've just talked about as well, and then loans. The other sheet that was on the table is the loan sheet that talks about the different kinds of loans that you can use. The first loan that's listed on there is your direct loan. That's going to be your subsidized and unsubsidized. So the only way that you would have any of that left is if you didn't use all of it during fall and spring. That will automatically be reoffered to you in the summer when we start that awarding process. So that's not something you'll need to contact us about. It will automatically be reoffered to you whatever you have left. Another way that that might change is if right now you're a sophomore, the maximum subsidized loan that you would have would be $4,500. If you change to a junior classification after the spring semester, juniors get $5,500. So we could offer you that extra $1,000 of your subsidized loan in the summer if you have a grade classification. That would be changing from a freshman to a sophomore, or a sophomore to a junior. Juniors and seniors already get the same thing, so if you change from junior to senior, your amount won't change. The next thing that's listed on there is a Parent Plus loan. The Parent Plus loan is going to be for dependent students. So until you're 24, you are considered dependent and have to use your parent information on FAFSA, so your parent can do a Parent Plus loan. It's a loan that they need to take out. It's in their name. If they are approved, they have a 6.84% interest rate, and they start repaying their loan in about a year after it's taken out, unless they contact the lender for deferment. On the direct loans, the interest rate was 4.29. And anything that's in your name has a 6-month grace period after graduation before you start repaying on that loan. If you have subsidized loan, the government will pay that interest for you while you're in school, and then you start accruing it after your grace period. If you have unsubsidized loan, you start accruing that interest from the time that you take out your loan. Okay, one other thing about the Parent Plus loan. If your parents have credit issues and they would not be approved for a loan. If they apply for the Parent Plus and they are denied, you would get an extra $4,000 if you're a freshman or sophomore on your unsubsidized loan that you could use for the year, or at $5,000 if you're a junior or senior. If your parents apply for a Parent Plus and they do that every fall and spring, they're approved, they get a Parent Plus loan. They can take a Parent Plus loan for fall, spring, and then they can take a separate Parent Plus loan for the summer if they're approved. If they are denied, that can only happen once during the year. So if your parents have already done a Parent Plus loan and they were denied and you got the extra money on your unsubsidized loan during the fall and spring, you can't do another denial for the summer. Okay, the next loan that's on the back is a college access loan. The college access loan is going to be for anybody who's a Texas resident. It's a loan that's through the state of Texas, and it has a 4.5% interest rate. And the instructions to apply are on there if you choose to do that. Again, it's a student loan in your name, so it has the 6-month grace period after graduation before you repay. The last loans that are listed on there are going to be private loans. Those are going to be loans like Wells Fargo, Sallie Mae, Discover, Credit Union, any outside organization like that. I believe it's beside bullet point number 2. There is a website that's elmselect.com. That website will help you do a search if you need a private loan to help you see which organization could give you the best interest rate and match your needs the best. And then you would just follow the instructions from there to apply on their website. If you apply for any of these other loans, once you apply, our loan team will get confirmation that you've been approved, and they pull the list once a week. And so they will go through and get your loan certified the next week. So if you applied today, we wouldn't see it tomorrow. We wouldn't see it until we pull the list next week. If you do apply for any of those loans, if you want to just shoot me an email, my email is on the bottom of the flyer with the seal. Then just let me know, hey, I applied for this loan for my study abroad, and then I can get with the loan team and just make sure that we get it certified correctly. If you have any room left in your budget right now, if you're not awarded completely up to your cost of attendance, which you'll be able to see on your rater link, but if you're not awarded completely to your cost of attendance, then you can take any of those loans now and apply for fall, spring, even though fall is already over. As long as you are here in fall, then you're still eligible to have that money as long as you have room in your budget not to go over your cost of attendance. So you could apply for that loan for fall, spring and get money early to help pay for your airfare, your passport. Do they have to have the ID card? Okay.
Seville does.
Those of you going to Seville, you do have to have that ID card. It's $26. And then the deposit that's in the spring. Any money that you could have in your budget for spring, if you need to take a loan for fall, spring, you could do that and get some money up front. And then if it's not enough, you could take another loan for summer. Fall, spring, and summer are separate loan terms, so that's why I keep talking about them separately. You can't take a loan that covers spring semester and summer. Those are separate, so you can do one that's for fall, spring, which would be the fall that we just finished, and spring right now. And like I said, even though fall's finished, we can still give you the money. You get that refund for the fall portion. Spring's going to pay whatever you owe for spring, and then you get your refund. Okay, and then if you need another loan separate, you could do that for summer. If you have enough room in your budget and you have to take loans, if you take all of your loans fall, spring, and then you don't need another loan for summer, and you have all your money up front, that's an option that you can do as well. Of course, any scholarships or grant funding that you get, those won't disperse until we do dispersals for summer. Any questions so far? A lot of information. Yes?
What do you mean by ID cards? Do you mean like driver's license?
There's an international ID card that you get in the passport office?
No, we don't do it anymore. International Student ID card is required for all students going to Seville. You have to order it online at myisic.com, myisic.com.
I've heard lots of students say that it's a good thing. It's offered for any student that's going abroad, correct? And so it is built into your budget. It will be on your budget as your international ID card. Like I said, it's $26. And it gives extra insurance. It's kind of like your tech ID, so it'll help you get discounts if you go to museums or something while you're abroad. If you do any extra traveling on weekends or however that works, you might be able to get discounted or free stuff with if you have the international card. You couldn't just use your tech card abroad and then say, oh yeah, okay, sure. Okay. I know there were some international students who raised their hand. So international students, you guys are not eligible to fill out the FAFSA that we've been talking about. So for you guys, the only option is going to be any scholarships that you can get. And then the very last, the private loans that we talked about, you would be eligible to apply for a private loan, but you do have to have a U.S. citizen co-sign your loan for you to be approved. So it's the same aid that you would use for a normal semester. Okay, so scholarships. So it says if you're receiving a merit scholarship, check with the scholarship office. Most merit-based scholarships are all set up for fall spring. So I don't know of any of them that carry into the summer, okay? If you do have waivers, somebody back there was asking about waivers. If you have waivers that are because you got a merit-based scholarship that's a competitive scholarship, so you have waivers that pay your out-of-state tuition. If you have military benefits, Hazelwood will cover your study abroad because you are doing a faculty-led program. You are paying your tuition to Texas Tech.
Yeah. Hazelwood will cover the tuition part of your study abroad program, not the program fee.
Right.
My tuition waivers for student disabilities.
Okay.
Yeah,
that'll
so
still
check
cover.
with SDS, student disabilities, and then also student business services.
Okay, so they will cover the tuition part of the program.
Right.
Yes, if they normally cover your tuition during the summer or semester as well, then yes, because you will be paying Texas Tech tuition for the program.
As far as though the extra, the deposit and the program fees and stuff, you'll have to check with whoever is providing your waivers. If it's the disability center, then you want to check with them and with student business services, like Elizabeth said, to see what parts of the fees that they actually cover for the study abroad. But they should cover the tuition portion.
Okay.
But as far as the fees, it's up to that, whoever's providing it, what they actually
Because
cover.
the tuition waivers from the state of Texas, so it pays for like everything, like scholarships, Pell Grants, I have to get reimbursed for all of that.
Okay. If that's what it covers during fall, spring, then it probably will cover the same in the summer. But again, I would check with them because study abroad or financial aid doesn't put the waivers onto the account. It's student business services that does that based off of what they're told will be covered by whoever's providing your waivers. So I would check with them to see. Okay. If you have other military benefits like Chapter 33, Chapter 31, those have different rules that they follow. So I would request that you talk to MVP about those to see what you actually can have and what you can't have. I know that, I think it's Chapter 33 has a requirement that you have to be studying abroad as a requirement of your degree, which for you guys it's an understanding of mine that that's true, but still MVP would be the ones that would put the waivers on your account. And so they would be the ones to find out what really covers. Okay. As far as other scholarships, where I would point you is to that scholarship page that Elizabeth showed you that has the SAC scholarship, that has the Gilman scholarship. There are a couple others that are listed on there. You can look through anything that's listed on their website to be able to see what scholarships. I think I just put it down here. So if you go to financial resources, scholarships, she talked to you about the SAC scholarship. You can look and see other tech scholarships. If you're part of honors, there's an honors scholarship. If you are part of Raider Rojos, there's one for them. I don't know what the deadlines are for any of these, and so you may just have to look and do some searching for yourself to see what you would actually qualify for. These program specific, none of those are going to apply to you guys. General study abroad scholarships, there's the Gilman that Elizabeth was talking about. This fund for education, the deadline's already passed on that one. Then you can just kind of look through any of these. You guys aren't studying critical language. If any of those match you, then you're welcome to apply for any of those. Also, if you go to NISF, there's another office on campus that kind of deals with scholarships from outside of the university.
Oh, it's this one, sorry.
Oh, I was like,
I carried it on.
It's like, it was working good for Elizabeth. What were you doing? NISF, National and International Scholarships and Fellowships, ttu.edu. And there's a search engine that's on that website where you can kind of search for scholarships that could be anything that might match you. So you may not be able to find a lot of scholarships on that website that would be specific to summer, but if you're still going to be here next fall and spring, you could possibly search for scholarships that you could apply for next fall and spring that would help you offset the cost of what you have to pay out if you have to get a loan to help with your program for the summer. Maybe a scholarship next year would help you not have to take loans next year. Okay? You can search for anything. You can search for architecture scholarships, anything to do with your ethnic background, organizations you're a part of. I noticed there was someone in here who's left-handed. I know there's scholarships for people who are left-handed. If you speak Klingon, I mean, there's all sorts of weird stuff out there. So, you know, if there's something that's quirky about you that you think, oh, there wouldn't be a scholarship, search for it, see if it's there. There's lots of money out there that's never even claimed because people just don't look for it. So anything that you can think, go ahead and search. So if you email me and you say, what scholarships can I apply for? They're on the Study Abroad website, they're on the NISF website. Go out there and search till your heart's content. Find as much money as you can. I mean, parents always love scholarships because they don't have to pay as much for your trip. Let's see, I'm trying to think of any other benefits. If you have Texas Tomorrow, TGTP, that will still pay. You just have to let Student Business Services know that you want to use your credits in the summer. If you are a Terry Scholar, anybody a Terry Scholar? Okay. Terry will pay $10,000 for your summer term. So just make sure that you get your information turned into them and you'll have your $10,000. Good to go. Anything else that somebody gets that you're like, wait, will this pay, will it not pay, that I didn't think of? And then this last one doesn't so much apply to you guys because you have to have 6 hours in the summer, but your program is 9 hours, so that already covers you guys being eligible for financial aid. And there's my email, so if you have any questions, you can feel free to email me. If you want to sit down and look at the budget for your program, I don't have all of the budgets yet. Right now, the only budget I have is the budget for the Seville program.
Yeah, and we'll be getting the Paris one and the Seoul one to her really shortly. So, we're Verona, we're a little behind on that one.
Posted anywhere online?
They will be. They will be.
Okay.
I don't. Do you have it in the college? Do you have those posted online estimates, Dr. Ellis?
No, each program was supposed to mail those to their students.
Okay.
Seoul has their.
Seoul has theirs. The Seoul students do.
Okay, so if you would like to see me in an individual basis to kind of look at what your budget is and what you have and where you might need to go from there, if you'll just email me, let me know what time you're available to meet every day, then I can get you on my calendar and we can set up an appointment to kind of look individually at what you need to do. If you're going to apply for any of those loans for fall, spring, you can apply for them now. If you're going to apply for one to come in the summer, you probably need to wait till closer to spring break to apply for that loan so your credit check won't run out before we are able to get it certified onto the summer budget. Okay? Any questions?